Welcome to Faith Uncovered. Today we're diving into some of the strangest rumors that swirled around early Christianity. You know, the shocking ones about cannibalism and baby eating that, well, seem almost too gruesome to be true.
That's totally wild. And it's hard not to be intrigued by how these stories actually started to, define perceptions back then.
Exactly. I mean, by the 2nd century, Christianity was a small, misunderstood movement in the vast Roman Empire. The fact that they didn't have temples or statues and didn't do sacrifices made them really stand apart. And that difference, well,
Yeah,
it just sparked suspicion among the Roman authorities.
right. And that suspicion, as I understand it, fueled a lot of wild rumors. Does that mean people really believed these accusations, or were they just propaganda?
It's, like a perfect storm of misunderstanding and fear. Writers like Tacitus called Christianity a pernicious superstition, and even Pliny the Younger admitted he didn't quite understand what Christians were up to. Their actions were just labeled depraved and excessive.
That vagueness seems to have given scammers, opportunists, plenty of room to exaggerate. The really grotesque allegations like eating babies? I mean, what an image.
Exactly. And speaking of images, historians like Dr. Robyn Walsh lay it out clearly. These weren't claims made out of a genuine practice, but rather a misinterpretation. The Eucharist, where Christians speak of eating the body and drinking the blood of the Son, was easily misconstrued by outsiders.
Yeah, it's like a metaphor taken way too literally. And that literal take was exploited to demonize them. I mean, if you're not familiar with the symbolism, you might think, oh my gosh, they're literally eating people.
Exactly. It's like if you peeked in on a secret dinner party without knowing the menu, the symbolism of communion becomes something horrifying. And that's why early Christian apologists, Justin Martyr and Theophilus of Antioch, felt the need to defend themselves so vigorously.
I guess it was sort of a recurring theme back then. But don't you think it's interesting how these same sorts of accusations were also aimed at other groups too?
Absolutely. It wasn't just Christianity. Other marginalized groups, like Jews and foreign cults, even the Bacchic cults, were accused of similar horrors. It was a kind of moral shorthand to justify persecution.
Right. But if I may challenge a bit, isn't it a bit too convenient to pin all this on misunderstanding? I mean, the Romans had quite a history of demonizing what they didn't understand, right?
That's a fair point. It's certainly not just about misunderstanding. It's more about power dynamics and the need to, other groups perceived as a threat. When a new religious movement started gaining followers among the lower classes, women and slaves, it disrupted the social order.
I see what you mean. So, in essence, these horror stories were kind of tools, like propaganda, to make early Christians seem even more alien and dangerous.
Yes, exactly. And a perfect example is the accusation about baby eating. It ties into another brutal Roman practice: infant exposure. Romans, if you remember, would abandon unwanted babies in public places, sometimes resulting in mass casualties.
Yeah. Wait, so you're saying that the image of baby eating was partly drawn from the existing practice of infant exposure in Roman society?
Precisely. The Romans were aware of these tragic scenes, abandoned babies in known drop-off sites, and that imagery was powerful. Combine that with secretive Christian rituals, and suddenly the accusation becomes a hyperbolic claim to demonize them.
Yeah, totally. That's so disturbing. And then there's the element of cannibalism itself. Aside from the baby aspect, the general charge of cannibalism, like eating human flesh, was repulsive enough to, stoke deep-seated fears.
Right, and writers like Tertullian had to address this directly. He noted that pagans accused Christians of roasting infants and then consuming them as part of nocturnal rites. The irony is, these denials helped reinforce the idea that such rumors were widespread enough to need address.
It's truly remarkable how the same accusations can be recycled across cultures and centuries. You see that even in modern history, other groups have been demonized using similar tactics.
Exactly. Similar techniques of othering using exaggerated claims are a recurring theme. Look at how different groups have been portrayed as monstrous to justify their persecution. It's a grim reminder that these narratives aren't about facts. They're about power and
that
control.
really puts it into perspective. And while nothing in these accounts proves that Christians actually partook in cannibalism or baby eating, the fact that these stories persisted for so long tells us a lot about their impact on society.
Exactly. What's fascinating is that early Christian writers, like Minucius Felix, even recorded such accounts in debates. The pagan interlocutors would, in a sort of debate, paint this gruesome picture, one that, though exaggerated, became a possibly lasting stereotype.
And isn't it kind of ironic that these defenses by Christian apologists also testify to the sheer influence of these rumors in public discourse?
Absolutely. When you have to spend time disproving claims of cannibalism and incest, you know the rumors had a serious hold. They symbolized not only misunderstandings, but also the fear of the unknown and the new.
Exactly. It reminds me of modern conspiracy theories where symbols and rituals are taken out of context and turned into weapons for political or social control.
Yes, it's definitely similar. These ancient accusations, while extreme, share a common thread with modern demonizations. They both thrive on exaggeration and misinterpretation of rituals.
Right, I agree. So, what then can we learn from all of this? Is it just historical curiosity? Or is there a broader lesson here about how societies handle the unfamiliar?
I think it's both. A lesson in how fear and power imbalances can distort behavior and language. Early Christianity was marginalized and, well, portrayed as a direct threat to established order because it operated outside the norm.
Yeah, that's so true. And it also shows that turning a metaphor like the Eucharist into something monstrous is a tactic, right? A way to dehumanize a group.
Exactly. It's almost like they twisted a beautiful symbolic ritual into something horrifying purely for political and social leverage.
And let's not forget that early Christians themselves sometimes played up their martyrdom and sacrifice. There's this circular dynamic where both sides exaggerate for their own reasons.
Right. And that self-exaggeration, whether for solidarity or survival, often further fuels the fire of external accusations. It becomes a self-reinforcing cycle of victimhood and demonization.
Yeah, totally. It really makes you wonder how much of what we see today is rooted in these very old dynamics. The use of rumor, misinterpretation, and outright fabrication as tools for control?
For sure. And I think the caution here is that even though we now have more accurate historical tools, we're still vulnerable to these patterns. It's a reminder to always critically examine the narratives fed to us, whether they're ancient or modern.
Exactly. So, if we step back, the story of early Christians being accused of such outrageous acts isn't about actual cannibalism. It's about the weaponization of fear.
Precisely. It's a porous window into how societal norms and power struggles can twist a religion's practices into serving as a tool for marginalization. It's like turning a symbolic act into a tool for demonizing the unfamiliar.
Right. And it underscores, well, the importance of understanding context, a concept that's as important then as it is today.
Exactly. Without context, metaphors become monsters, and fear can easily override our grasp on the truth. It's a lesson not just in history, but in the mechanics of human society.
Wow. It's really a deep dive into how rumor and social power can create legends that persist through time. I mean, this stuff makes you really appreciate the importance of context and careful interpretation.
Yeah, absolutely. And while it's dark to reflect on, it's also an invitation to approach any historical narrative with a thoughtful, critical eye, as well as a reminder of the lengths those in power will go to marginalize what's different.
Right on. Truly enlightening discussion. It's amazing how these ancient accusations still echo in our modern world, reminding us that skepticism and thoughtful interpretation never go out of style.